Before we begin, take a moment to breathe, because sometimes the most powerful moments in life don't arrive with noise. Sometimes, they arrive with silence, with a single breath, and with one small instrument that no one expects to change everything. Welcome back to the channel, a place where extraordinary moments meet unforgettable stories, where talent rises from the most unexpected places, and where one decision can rewrite a life forever. If you love stories that inspire, surprise, and remind you why dreams still matter, you're exactly where you need to be. The stage lights are bright. The audience is buzzing. Thousands of eyes are locked onto the same spot. America's Got Talent is known for jaw-dropping performances, massive vocals, gravity-defying stunts, and performers who arrive with armies of dancers, orchestras, or complicated setups. This is a stage where people bring everything they have, sometimes too much, hoping that louder means better, bigger means stronger, and more means unforgettable. And then, there is one person. No backup dancers. No orchestra. No flashing props. Just one recorder. At first, it almost feels like a mistake. The camera pans across the judge's table. One eyebrow lifts. Another judge leans back in their chair, curiosity mixed with doubt. The crowd shifts in their seats, unsure whether to laugh, clap politely, or brace themselves for something awkward. Because let's be honest, the recorder isn't exactly famous for changing lives. For most people, it's a childhood memory. A plastic instrument from elementary school music class. Something you learn to play for a week before forgetting it in the bottom of a backpack. No one expects greatness from a recorder. And that's exactly why this moment matters. The performer steps forward, calm but focused. You can see it in their eyes. This isn't a joke. This isn't irony. This isn't a novelty act. This is belief. Belief in something so small that most people would laugh it off before even trying. The microphone picks up the faint sound of breathing as the room quiets. For a split second, there is absolute silence. That silence is heavier than noise. Because silence is where doubt lives. The performer raises the recorder. The audience waits. The judges watch. Somewhere in the back of the room, someone probably whispers, "Is this for real?" And then the first note hits. It's clean, clear, confident, not childish, not shaky, not what anyone expected. The sound fills the room, and instantly something changes. People stop smiling politely. They stop shifting in their seats. Heads tilt forward. Eyes widen. The melody isn't rushed. It isn't trying to impress. It's controlled, intentional, and precise. Each note lands exactly where it should, weaving something familiar yet completely new. The recorder stops being a toy. It becomes a voice. The camera cuts to the judges. One of them leans in closer. Another nods slowly, as if realizing they misjudged this moment before it even began. The audience is no longer waiting for it to end. They're listening. Truly listening. This is how magic sneaks up on people. The melody grows more complex. Faster runs. Unexpected turns. The performer's fingers move effortlessly, dancing over the holes with muscle memory built from years of dedication. This didn't happen overnight. This is the sound of hours spent practicing alone, probably being told it wasn't worth it, probably being laughed at, probably being advised to choose something more serious. But here it is, on the biggest stage in America. The recorder sings. And suddenly, the room feels smaller. More intimate. Like everyone is sharing a secret they never knew they needed. The performer's posture is steady. No panic. No overthinking. Just trust. Trust in the music. Trust in the moment. Trust that one instrument is enough. The crowd begins to react. Not loudly. Not yet. It starts with gasps. Then murmurs. Then smiles. Someone in the front row leans over to whisper something to their friend, eyes still glued to the stage. The kind of look that says, "Are you hearing this?" The performer shifts into another section of the piece. This part is bold, confident, almost playful. The melody dances, climbs, dives, and twists in ways no one associates with a recorder. It feels alive. It feels fearless. And then comes the moment every performer dreams of. The room fully gives in. Applause breaks out mid-performance. Not the polite kind. The kind you can't hold back. The kind that erupts because people realize they're witnessing something rare. The performer doesn't stop. They don't break. They let the applause flow around them like energy, fueling the next notes. The judges exchange looks. This isn't a joke anymore. This is talent. Pure, undeniable talent. As the performance builds, the music takes on emotion. There's joy in it. There's nostalgia. There's defiance. It feels like a message without words, saying, "You underestimated me, and that's okay. I didn't underestimate myself." The performer's breathing stays steady, even as the piece demands more speed, more precision, more control. This is where many would slip. Where nerves would take over. Where mistakes would creep in. But nothing falters. Each note lands clean. Each phrase flows seamlessly into the next. The recorder becomes an extension of the performer, not an object, but a part of them. And now the audience is fully locked in. Phones are lowered. Conversations stop. Even the judges, people who have seen thousands of acts, are visibly impressed. One of them smiles wide, almost laughing in disbelief. Another shakes their head slowly, the universal gesture of someone admitting they were wrong. This is the beauty of moments like this. They humble everyone. The music reaches its peak. Fast, intricate runs that seem impossible on such a simple instrument. Fingers blur. The melody rises, tension builds, and for a moment it feels like the entire room is holding its breath. And then, the final note. It hangs in the air for just a fraction of a second longer than expected. Silence. Then the explosion. The audience jumps to their feet. Cheers roar through the theater. Applause crashes like a wave, loud and unfiltered. People shout, whistle, clap until their hands hurt. This isn't just appreciation. This is disbelief turned into celebration. The performer lowers the recorder, chest rising and falling, a smile finally breaking through. Not a smug smile, a relieved one, a proud one. The kind of smile that says, "I trusted myself, and it worked." The judges stand. All of them. One by one. That alone speaks louder than words. As the applause continues, the camera zooms in on the performer's face. You can see the emotion fighting to stay controlled. Years of being underestimated. Years of practicing something people didn't take seriously. Years of believing when others didn't. All validated in one moment. The judges motion for quiet. The room slowly settles, though the energy still crackles in the air. One judge leans forward, microphone in hand, eyes locked on the performer. They pause. Because sometimes, even judges need a second to find the right words. And when they speak, it's clear this performance didn't just entertain them. It surprised them. It challenged their expectations. It reminded them that talent doesn't always come packaged the way we expect. And that sometimes, one recorder is all it takes. The applause slowly fades, but the energy never leaves the room. It lingers in the air, buzzing like electricity after a storm. The performer stands center stage, recorder still in hand, absorbing the moment. This isn't just applause for a performance. It's applause for courage, for choosing something different, for standing in front of millions and saying, "This is enough." One of the judges finally speaks, their voice carrying both surprise and admiration. They admit they didn't expect much when they first saw the recorder. They laugh, shaking their head, almost embarrassed by their own assumption. And that honesty hits home, because everyone watching knows they felt the same way. The performer nods politely, not defensive, not offended. Just calm. Because they've heard it all before. Another judge leans forward, eyes bright, voice animated. They talk about how difficult it is to take an instrument that most people consider simple and make it sound extraordinary. They point out the control, the technique, the musicality. They emphasize that this wasn't a gimmick. This was real artistry. The audience applauds again, responding to every word. The performer finally speaks. Their voice is steady, but you can hear the emotion just beneath the surface. They talk about how long they've been playing. How people told them it wasn't a serious instrument. How teachers, friends, even family members encouraged them to switch to something more impressive. Something bigger. Something louder. But they didn't. They stuck with the recorder. They talk about practicing in bedrooms late at night, about playing when no one was listening, about believing that music isn't defined by size or popularity, but by expression. The room listens closely. This isn't just about music anymore. This is about belief. Another judge smiles warmly and says something that resonates deeply. They say that what just happened on that stage is exactly what this show is about. Not following trends. Not copying what works. But showing up as yourself, fully and unapologetically. The performer's eyes glisten. The crowd claps again. Then comes the question everyone is waiting for. What's next? The judge asks if the performer thinks a recorder can really carry them through the competition. There's no mockery in the question. Just curiosity. The performer doesn't hesitate. They answer with quiet confidence. They say yes. They believe in their instrument. They believe in their voice. They believe that if they keep telling their story through music, people will keep listening. That confidence earns another round of applause. And then, something shifts. One judge reaches for the button. The crowd notices instantly. A ripple of excitement spreads through the theater. Whispers turn into gasps. The performer freezes, eyes wide, heart clearly racing. They don't look away. They stand tall. The judge presses it. Yes. The audience erupts again. Another judge doesn't even wait. They slam their button with a grin. Yes. The performer's hand flies to their mouth, overwhelmed. They try to hold it together, but the emotion is pouring out now. Years of doubt are being replaced by validation, one vote at a time. The third judge pauses, building tension. They look out at the audience. They look back at the performer. Then they smile and hit the button. Yes. The theater explodes. The performer is shaking now, tears visible, laughter and disbelief blending together. They clutch the recorder to their chest like a lifeline. This small instrument, once dismissed, has just opened a door to something massive. The final judge stands. They take their time, because they know this moment matters. They talk about bravery, about how the performer turned skepticism into admiration, about how they reminded everyone in the room not to judge too quickly. Then they press the button. Yes. 4 yeses. The crowd roars louder than ever. The performer drops to their knees. Overwhelmed, covering their face as tears finally fall. This is what dreams look like when they come true. Messy, emotional, real. As the performer stands and bows, the judges rise once more, clapping genuinely, not as judges, but as fans. The performer waves, still in disbelief, then walks off stage, every step lighter than the last. Backstage, the emotions spill over. The performer hugs a loved one, voice cracking as they talk about how much this means. They talk about all the times they almost gave up. About how close they were to believing everyone else. About how tonight changed everything. But this story doesn't end here. Because as powerful as that audition was, it was only the beginning. The internet reacts almost instantly. Clips of the performance spread like wildfire. Social media fills with comments from people who never imagined a recorder could sound like that. People admit they were wrong. People share the video with captions like, "Don't judge too fast," and "This gave me chills." Music teachers share it with their students. Parents show it to their kids. Aspiring musicians watch it and feel seen. Because this performance isn't just about one person. It's about anyone who's ever loved something others didn't understand. The comments pour in. Some say they cried. Some say they smiled the entire time. Some say it reminded them why they fell in love with music in the first place. And through it all, one message keeps repeating. Never underestimate something small. The performer moves on to the next round, carrying not just a recorder, but the weight of expectation. This time, people are watching closely. This time, they're waiting to be impressed again. And that pressure is real. Because surprising people once is powerful. But doing it again, that's harder. The next performance arrives, and the setup is just as simple. Same instrument. Same calm presence. But now, the room feels different. The doubt is gone. In its place is anticipation. The performer knows this moment matters. They know expectations are higher. They know the world is watching. They take a breath. And once again, they let the recorder speak. The moment the first note flows out again, it's clear this performance is different. Not because the instrument has changed, but because the stakes have. This time, the room isn't filled with doubt. It's filled with expectation. Every ear is tuned in, waiting to see if lightning can strike twice. The melody begins softly, almost cautiously, like a conversation rather than a declaration. The performer allows the space between the notes to breathe. Silence becomes part of the music. And that choice alone shows growth. Confidence doesn't always mean being loud. Sometimes, it means knowing when to hold back. The audience leans in. The recorder's tone is warmer now, richer, shaped by experience and control. Each phrase feels intentional, as if the performer is telling a story only music can translate. There's sadness in it, hope, a sense of longing that lingers in the air long after each note fades. The judges are silent. Not one of them interrupts. Not one of them shifts in their seat. Their eyes follow the performer's fingers, recognizing the mastery behind what looks simple. This isn't about tricks. This is about connection. As the piece unfolds, the tempo changes. The melody rises, gathering strength, pulling the audience along with it. The performer's posture straightens, breath deepens, and the recorder sings louder, bolder, more fearless than before. This is growth. This is evolution. The crowd begins to respond again, not with applause, but with emotion. You can feel it in the room. People wiping away tears. People smiling softly. People holding their breath, afraid to break the spell. And then, the performer does something unexpected. They stop. Just for a moment. A pause so deliberate it feels like the world freezes. That silence speaks volumes. It says, "Trust me." It says, "I know where this is going." Then the music returns. Faster. Stronger. More daring. The recorder moves through rapid runs, soaring melodies, and sudden drops that make hearts race. It's playful and powerful at the same time, a reminder that joy and discipline can coexist beautifully. The audience reacts instinctively now. Gasps. Cheers. Smiles spreading across faces. This isn't disbelief anymore. This is admiration. As the final section approaches, the performer pours everything into the instrument. Every ounce of emotion, every year of practice, every moment of doubt turned into fuel. The melody climbs higher and higher, building tension, pushing the limits of what anyone thought possible from a recorder. And then it resolves. The final note is strong, steady, and unshakable. Silence. Then thunder. The audience leaps to their feet. Applause explodes, louder than before. This isn't just approval. This is respect. The performer bows, heart pounding, knowing they've done it again. Not by being flashy, not by being loud, but by being real. The judges stand once more. One of them speaks first, voice filled with awe. They say that this performance wasn't just better than the first. It was deeper, more mature. They say it takes real artistry to grow under pressure, and the performer did exactly that. Another judge talks about courage. About how easy it would have been to change things. To add backing tracks. To bring in extra effects. But the performer didn't. They trusted their voice again. And it worked. The third judge smiles warmly and says something that sticks. They say the performer isn't just changing minds. They're changing perceptions. They're making people rethink what music can be, and who gets to decide what matters. The final judge looks directly at the performer, pauses, and then delivers the words that change everything. They press the golden buzzer. Time seems to stop. Golden confetti rains from above, covering the stage in a shimmering storm of light. The audience screams, louder than ever before. The performer collapses to the floor, overwhelmed, laughter and tears mixing as they look up at the golden rain falling around them. This is it. This is the moment. From underestimated to unforgettable. The judges rush the stage, hugging the performer, shouting congratulations. The recorder lies on the floor beside them, surrounded by gold, a symbol of how something small can create something massive. The performer stands, soaked in emotion, hands shaking, eyes shining. They lift the recorder high, not as a prop, but as a trophy. The crowd chants their name. Backstage, emotions overflow again. The performer can barely speak, voice breaking as they try to process what just happened. They talk about never imagining this moment. About how close they came to giving up. About how grateful they are they didn't. The story spreads even faster now. News outlets pick it up. Musicians react. People everywhere talk about the recorder performance that shocked America. Schools invite the performer to speak. Kids pick up recorders with new curiosity. Teachers smile, knowing something special just happened. And when the live shows arrive, the performer steps onto the stage with the same calm presence as before. The lights are brighter. The audience is bigger. The pressure is heavier. But the recorder remains the same. And so does the belief. The final performance is everything combined. The vulnerability of the first audition. The growth of the second. The confidence earned through every step of the journey. The music fills the theater, powerful and undeniable. Win or lose, it no longer matters. Because the message has already been delivered. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. You don't need approval to pursue what you love. And you don't need more than what you already have. Sometimes, one recorder is all it takes.